All right, there we go. Hello, hello. John S. Rhodes here of the Rhodes Brothers, and this is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. This is all about how to overcome being lazy. Now, we've all procrastinated. We've all been lazy at different times. We all want to chillax. We all want to sit back and just, hey, man, take a deep breath and enjoy life. Well, there is a time for peace and there is a time for war. There is a time to be lazy. There's a time to procrastinate and there's a time to get her done, right? And so if you're looking to overcome procrastination, overcome being lazy, and overcome really the feeling, then this video is for you. Now, keep in mind what I just said, the feeling of being lazy, because I believe that everyone at times feels lazy, but I also believe in my heart of hearts that everyone has inspiration, everyone has drive, everyone has goals, everyone wants to create. I believe that. I believe that very, very much. The matter is just how much is that? And can I get to that state or those states faster? Can I get myself set up to be driving forward? And that's what this video is about. I've got either 6 or 7 key points here. So let's dive in about overcome being lazy. Now, the very first thing is setting big goals. You've got dreams. Set up your goals so that they line up with your dreams, right? That's an awesome way to sort of just have visualization and the power of your dream, your desire to be the catalyst. Now, some people will just use that alone and they'll drive ahead, be like, whoa, now that I've been thinking about that big dream and then those relatively concrete goals, long, medium, short-term goals, right? You can break them down and you should. If you're interested in that approach, let me know. I will create a video specifically on the long-term, medium-term, and short-term goal setting. But nothing stops you from just kind of being lazy and thinking about your goals. You see what I did there is that we can just use something as simple as, hey man, I'm going to sit back here and just think about my goals. I'm going to think about my dreams. That can be enough of a catalyst for some people. That can help you. That alone can help you overcome being de-energized. It can reinvigorate. It can, fill the bucket. It can load the battery, and then you're ready, willing, and able to, get after it and get her done. Okay, so that's the very, very first one. Set big goals. But really, I would say dream big and then set goals that line up against that big dream. Now, the second item here is it's very, very true that many people are lazy out of fear, right? It's not that they want to be lazy, but they fear taking action and then failing. So it's a matter of understanding, and this is the key second point. It's understanding that fear is very likely the major obstacle, not the obstacle itself, which is just getting things done, getting motivated and moving forward. Well, it's very hard to motivate yourself if you're operating from a position or a point of fear. So it's not just being about afraid of others. You might be scared, and I mean that, you might have fear that you simply won't reach your big dreams. So break your dreams into parts if you need to, smaller dreams that feed into a larger dream or your mission and so forth, right? You can have the big, big, big dream, or you can just say, hey, look, I've got this dream and I'm going to break it down into smaller dreams. And then you pick one of those. Again, you can do this all just thinking. And then you break down that smaller dream into very concrete goals. And again, you break it down until you're doing something that takes 2 or 3 minutes. The very first thing that you would do from breaking all that down, thinking about this, right? You could be thinking about it and then say, okay, this thing I can do right here is only going to take me 1 to 2 minutes and that's it. And then you're taking your first step of the 1,000-mile journey, and then you're going to achieve something that gets you that much closer to the ultimate dream from taking the smallest step. And all you've done is sat there and like, hey man, I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna sit and think about my dreams. But then you break it down in your head. And you might start taking some notes. You might journal about it a little bit. You might doodle. But what it comes down to is that you'll have the very first action you can take. You know that you have overcome the fear because, look, it's only going to take a minute or two to do that very, very first thing because you've broken it down properly. Number 3, and this is a key, it's most like, hey, you know that if you take that first step, then what? What comes after that first step? What comes after the first step? You know the answer. It is, of course, the second step. So you can plan ahead. You can think, that first step is only going to take a minute or two. the next step might take 3 minutes, it might take 30 seconds, it might take 5 minutes, but it's so small. I know what the next step might be. In fact, the next step might be laying out the next step or the next steps, right? And so then what that does is it tells you I don't have to stop. I can start with something very small, and the next thing is setting myself up for success to do the next thing. So you can just, this isn't great, but what you can do is plan to plan to plan to plan to plan. And if you're done with that, you can actually lay out an entire battle plan to know what I'm going to do from minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. So you can just be building that, mostly thinking, but then doing a little bit of writing. And before you know it, you've accomplished the goal of overcoming being lazy because you've built something. And once you build something and you've got that momentum, guess what? It's the third topic, which is just don't stop. Just don't stop. The fourth item here is don't make excuses. So what'll happen is you're thinking about your goals, thinking about what you want. You feel lazy though, like you collapse again and you're like, and you will find ways. You will find ways to make excuses or the reasons for not taking action. Like, I'm just going to fail. I'm not as good as other people. I don't have the education. I have no plan. I don't have the time. I'm too burned out. Whatever it might be. There's always an excuse to make an excuse. It's very easy to come up with excuses. And in fact, one of the weird tactics that I've come up with that works really, really well is make a list of all the excuses. I want to get from point A to point B, and here's all the reasons that I can't overcome that. And then if you really truly have these obstacles, each one of those obstacles can be an opportunity for you to create, to help other people and add value. That's one thing. Another thing is that if you make that punch list, you say, is there anything else? Is there anything else? And you say no, and you're like, well, look, I know what the demon is. I know what the monster is. I know what the dragon is that I got to slay, and it's these 17 things. Then what you can do is, again, you can be pretty lazy about this, is you can read up and research on those things in terms of how do I overcome, how do I beat, how do I get started. You can either figure it out for yourself or do the research, and then you figure it out, and then you do it. And just do one of those things. But it can come out of just being like, this isn't going to work, from making excuses. But the best thing, of course, is not to make any excuses whatsoever. And I got to tell you that every single time that you look at the excuses, it's going to be painful. And as long as you can look at the pain and say, look, I want to move away from pain, closer to pleasure. Here's how I do it, because I know what these problems are. I know what the excuses are. Here's how I'm going to overcome that. Another way to move forward is to sort of work through the laziness. When I say work through it, I mean that literally. Like, you can take action, just do something, and it need not be related. Let me give you an example. I don't feel like, studying. I don't feel like starting that project. Well, you don't have to do that. Just stand up. Literally, just stand up. Okay, now that you stood up, take one more very stupid step, or one more stupid action, which would be, hey, take a deep breath. All right, so you stood up and you took a deep breath. Fantastic. Now, spend 10 seconds visualizing starting, visualizing success if and when you start. So you see what we've done here? The dumbest, little, simplest action. Stand up. And then almost meditate in the moment. Okay. And then actually take the step. It's kind of interesting when you stop and think about what laziness is. It's like a lack of action, zero action, no action. So if you can do anything that creates that first action, that's the inertia, that's the energy. And energy feeds energy. It doesn't work the other way around, right? It doesn't work the other way around where energy leads to no energy instantly. It's very rare that you go from energy for a moment to zero energy. You can work on that. You can stop, start in terms of your energy. But when it comes to small movements and small actions working towards a dream or a bigger goal, it's very much the case that energy begets more energy. Energy fuels itself. And the reason for that is that if you're working in an area where it's your unique ability, your unique passion especially, you will continuously grow and build more value. If it's something that you don't like while you're working up against that obstacle, like we've talked about, you're putting energy into an obstacle, understanding the challenge, really knowing what you're going after. And if you've quantified it and qualified it, then you know what you're going after. But it's only when you apply that action and that energy that you actually know what you're going after. And so that's the importance of even taking the very, very smallest first step. Energy gives you energy. Energy creates energy. Energy begets energy. Energy is attracted to energy as well. Laziness attracts laziness. It becomes a black hole, a vortex. Don't get sucked in, move the other way, become a supernova from a tiny little pinprick, like just a little point of light. Then you move towards the supernova and explode in energy. It's really quite profound. Think about moving up those steps of really everything from getting things done to enlightenment to fixing your health to relationships. It's all interrelated to energy creating more energy, right? So the laws of thermodynamics don't exactly and precisely apply to human energy and human consciousness getting things done and achieving life's purposes, right? There's more than one, of course. The next item I've got for you is sort of like a shocking revelation, right? Is that you face what you're trying to avoid. And what I mean by this is that you deliberately and directly make sure that you are oriented towards the pain, oriented towards the challenge, oriented towards what you don't want to do. Don't leave it at 90 degrees. Don't leave it off in the periphery. Don't leave it over here. Don't even have it behind you, because behind you don't see it at all. You don't sense it. It's just like a lurking, evil, dark presence. And if it's off to the sides or at some angle, then you don't know what it is. It shape shifts. It changes. Laziness never likes to identify itself. It cloaks itself, it hides, it's in the shadows, and you don't quite understand why. It's a lingering, dull feeling. It saps you. And the only way to confront it, take action against it, use the energy of your goals to go after it, and really get things done is to go wham and orient right to it, right? Orient right to it. And when you do that, you face what you are fearing. You face what you are trying to avoid. And even that is an action in the right direction, right? Because that is a powerful goal-oriented action. You're understanding what your fear is because you're orienting toward it, right? You're moving toward it. So that's fantastic. So that also helps you avoid the excuses. It also helps you take that immediate action. Just orient, wham! So you orient, right? It's like wham, orient. And there it is. There's the laziness, and now you know. Right? So then you can go directly after it when you take action, even if it's something like, okay, there it is, stand up, beep, right? Turn yourself into a mechanical robot for a moment, right? Again, let me say this, right? You've got a goal. Oh, I'm lazy though. I've got a goal. I'm so lazy. You've got a goal. Okay, where is that laziness? Like, what is it? Orient. There you are. So now you've oriented, right? Now you've oriented, and you have the goal. You have a little bit of momentum, because even right there, you made that first step. Orienting, right? And then it's like something dumb, something ridiculous, ludicrous. Stand up, wham, stand up, right? And then think about it. Think about the goal. Meditate on the goal, right? And also what the obstacle is. So that's what I'm talking about. You face directly head on what it is that you fear, which is getting the thing done for whatever reason, and stop avoiding the problem. Embrace it, in fact. That problem is your friend in the future. The problem is your friend. The laziness is your energy in the future. The reason is that it is an obstacle. It's a problem. It is a negative drain on your life. And then eventually you overcome that laziness, and then you can help yourself achieve more in the future, and you can help other people achieve more in the future as well. Do you see how this is a closed loop system? Help yourself more. Before you know it, wow, you are enlightened. You're the one. You attract people. You lose the weight. You gain the muscle. You attract the girl or the guy. Whatever is happening in your life gets better because of this. And that's avoiding, flip it, going after what you've been avoiding. Don't avoid. Don't try to negate by avoiding. Instead, face it head on. And when you face it head on and you accept that there's pain and suffering and something that you need to get done, ouch, there it is, that means you're facing your enemy directly head on. And your enemy will flee. The laziness will run for the hills. That's how it works. Last but not least, keep going through the mistakes. Now, we have other teaching and training on this. I encourage you very strongly to look at the Rhodes Brothers channel because we have exactly material on this exact precise topic. Like, well, what about mistakes? Well, mistakes are gifts. You will make mistakes. So the other thing is that even standing up, you'd be like, whoa, I'm going to fall over. Or, oh, I stood up and I sat right back down, and so on. Even the smallest little, most ridiculous, ludicrous things, you will make mistakes doing those very simple things, no problem. And you'll obviously make mistakes on the bigger things as well. This is so obvious. But that's how you learn. That's what learning is. That is how you get better. And once you get better, you make everything better in your own life. You really, truly do, because then you're like, well, I can do that. Your confidence goes up. The ability to get things done improves. The ability to visualize and dream, manifest, it all gets better because you realize that you are going to make mistakes, but those mistakes are gifts, they're opportunities. You know, the obstacle is the way. The struggle is what you have identified for being lazy, but it goes away. You execute it, it goes away. Pacoom, gone. And that is the truth of the matter. Please subscribe to the channel. This is Greater Wealth Through Mastery. And very importantly, if you got value out of this video, and I assume that because you're here you have, please forward this on, because it's word of mouth referrals exactly like yours that help the channel grow for nothing, no effort. Just please send it on to a friend if you think it will resonate and work for them and with them. And with that being said, this is John S. Rhodes of the Rhodes Brothers. We do truly appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next training. Take care.